What's up guys, Duarte here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and since Dark Dimension 5 was announced, I think it's time to start preparing for it because it's going to take a very long time to get there, and the faster you start to prepare, the faster you will start Dark Dimension 5. And as you guys saw, the rewards, at least the Dormammu, is pretty good, and you can expect a nice amount of gold orbs, Elite 5s and so on like we had previously. Hopefully we'll have a little bit better, but we can't expect much. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to start to prepare for each of the lanes. We have 4 lanes. We have a city, global and cosmic, and finally we have the legendary lane. We are going to take a look at which characters make more sense for each of these lanes, based not only on their kits but also on their utility in other game modes and overall use in the game. This will be probably a 4-part video. We'll do city, global, cosmic and legendary, and then we'll make some final conclusion video in order to take a look at the mini uniques and so on, and if we need to rethink some of the decisions we made so far. Okay, so that's gonna be the video. If you like the information, like always, share it with your friends, help me out here, it's not easy. But yeah, let's get started. Okay, so first we are going to remove right away the characters that we know that are 100% trash and characters that we know we cannot use. So, and the team right now completely useless, there is no word of any rework, so we can remove them right away. You can also remove Dr. Octopus, even that is very good. He's not part of this lane, so we can remove him. Other characters that we can remove right away, we have Nobu, and we have OG Spider-Man. And other characters, let's see. We have Green Goblin, we can remove that one right away. He's extremely expensive. I don't understand why Green Goblin is so expensive when he is 100% garbage. And then we can also remove right away Mercenary Sniper because he is garbage and he has no rework or anything like that. Okay, so those are the characters we can remove right away. The other characters, they have minor reworks or situations like that, minor reworks. They were fit in some kind of team, and they had some overall use before in the game. Okay, so other characters that we can remove based on the characters that we just removed. Because we removed Dr. Octopus, we can remove all of the other Sinister Six because they are not strong enough. There is only Vulture, but Vulture on his own without Dr. Octopus is not that great. So we will leave him for now, but everyone else from the Sinister Six we will be removing. Okay, so we have Shocker, Lady Electro, Mysterio, and who else? We have someone else here for sure. Oh, Rhino, of course. Okay, those are removed for sure. Let's continue now with other characters that didn't have any kind of reworks recently, and we are going for Jessica Jones. She's extremely outdated, even that she has one ability that is going to be extremely useful for us, which is the energy, and the debuff removal is just not good enough, and she's slow, she's not part of any of the teams that we have available, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so other characters that we can remove right away. Let's see. Mercenary Soldier, he's only for war, most of his abilities only work on war, so let's remove him right away. Then we have a Mercenary Lieutenant and we have Mercenary Riot Guard. Mercenary Lieutenant is usable, the problem is that it's not easy to keep him alive. His stats are completely garbage. He got a rework but not to his stats, only to his abilities. And because of that, he's completely useless I mean, he's not useless, he's useful, but if he takes one hit, he's going to die, so yeah, no point. And the Merc Riot Guard, extremely expensive, most of his abilities only work in Alliance Wars. because he's also a minion and he once again also got reworked only on his kit, not on his stats, he's not that great either, so let's remove both of them. Okay, so another character that got a minor rework and nothing to his stats, nothing to overall team synergy is Bullseye. He's not that great, so let's remove him. And now we have some more, oh, we have Swarm here as well. Swarm is not bad, but without Dr. Octopus he is trash. Okay, so we removed most of the characters that are right away trash. And now we have most of the characters that are somewhat useful. Okay, so let's go for the characters that their team leaders are not here, or they only have some use in war or something like this. And right away we can remove the Punisher. He increases the damage, he has some gimmicks on his team, but overall and without his team he is not that great, and that's why we have to remove him. He is cheap, he increases the damage of everyone else, but it's hard to keep him alive, and because of that it's gonna be a waste to invest resources in him. Then we have She-Hulk. She works with the Fantastic Four and no one else. Unfortunately, she doesn't do anything. I think she's also expensive. Her kit is not bad, but requires a very specific team to be very, very strong. And I mean, we could make a combo with She-Hulk and Sentry. That combo is very, very annoying. The problem is that neither of those characters are worth investing. Okay, so another character that is not great, unfortunately, is Kingpin. His kit is interesting, but he's 3 years outdated. He has no use anywhere in the game right now, so yeah, unfortunately we have to remove him. Even that, he could be interesting. He's very cheap as well, only requires 2 sets of mini uniques, but unfortunately he's just not gonna make it. Okay, so now it starts to become interesting. Now, we have several problems here. We have teams like the Shadowland. They are very good in Alliance Wars offense and Alliance Wars overall, but in other game modes they are not so great. Especially the ones that are skill and bio. Daredevil, he doesn't do anything useful outside of Alliance Wars, and Night Nurse, she used to be okay for raids, but right now I think she's very outdated. She's still okay, borderline useful. I don't know, maybe mediocre right now. She does a few things, but it only works mostly with the Shadowland team, and I don't think overall the team is going to be very useful based on that. So we are going to remove Night Nurse, we are going to remove Daredevil, we are going to remove White Tiger, and the reason why we are going to remove White Tiger is because she's trash. She does fine on Alliance Wars, she does some cool things there, but outside of Alliance Wars or outside of any game mode that lasts more than 2 or 3 turns, she's not great. She has no stats in order to make her viable, and even if you could apply negative effects to the team and somewhat protect her like this, she still doesn't do good enough to be reliable on Dark Dimension, especially because she does single target damage, and that's pretty much it. Okay, so remove White Tiger, but let's keep this guy here because he is a little bit more interesting. Okay, so now we have much less options. We have Supernatural, we have New Avengers, we have New Warriors, we have Symbiotes, and we have Multiple Men. Okay, so, and we also have Heroes for Hire. Okay, so let's take a look a bit on Heroes for Hire. Heroes for Hire has some interesting characters, others not so much. Shang-Chi is very, very strong on his own. He doesn't need other people for him to be good, but together with the other Heroes for Hire, he becomes even more interesting. He applies 2 turns of speed up for his Hero for Hire allies. Sorry. He does turn rewind, he removes one negative effect from everyone and multiple negative effects from heroes for hire. So he has a lot of utility. He also applies slow, he does nice amount of damage, high survivability through mitigation from deflects and stuff like this. So he is very useful character. Now, are there other heroes for hire that would follow him along? Maybe. Now, the ones that I think that will not follow along with him is Iron Fist and Calling Wing. The reasons why is because Iron Fist, he doesn't do much, he does okay, but apart from healing a little bit and single target damage and so on, I think he doesn't do enough to be brought to Dark Dimension 5. And the Calling Wing, she does a nice amount of damage, she does all those assists and so on, but once again, she's not that great outside of Alliance Wars. She's nice, the damage is cool, but in Dark Dimension we need a lot more than that. We need utility, we need control, and she provides little of that. So let's remove these two, Iron Fist and Calling Wing. Okay, so it becomes more interesting. Every character we will remove, it becomes more interesting. Okay, so another character that doesn't do much is Miles Morales. Spider-Man Miles, the guy from the Ultimate Universe, he doesn't do much. He does single target damage with his basic, he does some AoE damage or global damage with his ultimate, and the single target damage once again with his special. He gives a little bit of control, but I think the cooldowns are just way too long for him to be good enough for Dark Dimension 5, and because of that, yeah, he's not going to make it. We still have Squirrel Girl and we still have Miss Marvel here. Would he be more interesting together with them? I don't think so, because of the limitations I just mentioned. He has some control, but it's just not good enough. As you can see, the ultimate 6 energy cooldown, the special 4 energy cooldown, and it's not good enough. It's random or single target, and that's just not good enough for Dark Dimension. So let's cut him off. Here we go. Okay, so yikes. It becomes harder and harder. Okay, so another character that was somewhat decent back in the day when we started Doom raids. The first Doom raid we had the Ghost Rider, and he was not terrible together with Hela and Mordo. He gives more stats to himself, makes him okay, but overall he gives focus to Mystic allies. That's fine, I guess. But his cooldowns don't do much, single target damage with the offense down, and he has drain, but he needs to be charged. Charged revolves around the characters being dead, blah blah blah. So it's just too many gimmicks, unnecessary gimmicks to make him useful for Dark Dimension 5. So Ghost Rider, you have been eliminated. Okay, so we have lots and lots of symbiotes, and we have the new warriors. Okay, so let's make this easy for the new warriors. Let's change shape and color here. Let's go now for the blue and give some thickness. Give some thickness to that girl. Okay, so one character or two characters that we are taking for sure, in my opinion, is Cloak and Dagger. They are very very strong. They do everything that we need for Dark Dimension. Apply a bunch of negative effects to the enemies, including disrupt, including blind, including offense down, defense down, slow, and they also have drain. They also assist on each other, applying vulnerabilities, giving bleeds, applying regeneration, so many things, removing heal block from everyone is not exclusive to their team. They heal everyone, so many gimmicks that they work excellent together, but they still work. They still have value with other characters as well. So I think they are going to be the staple, and they are not that expensive, and that's another good reason to take them. Cloak, unfortunately, he shares the same uniques as other characters that are relevant to Dark Dimension, but I think the value that he has is just too great. So we have Dagger. She uses Tesseract energy and she has 4 mini uniques, so that's a little bit of expensive, so we have to be careful in terms of the cost of the Mystic characters. So we are already using 4 sets of mini uniques. This is going to be important for the last video. And Cloak, he uses the Nightmarish to obtain Miasma, and then he requires 3 sets of mini uniques. So this is 7 sets of Mystic uniques, Tesseract energy that no one special right now uses, and Miasma. So Miasma is going to be a problem, so maybe we have to change here to yellow on Cloak. Even that, if you are taking Dagger, you should take Cloak, but let's just keep it yellow. Okay, so let's go back. Let's go back to the red, because we are going to remove someone else. Okay, here we go. So we are going to remove another character. Let's see who is going to be. We have Electra. Electra, she's part of the Shadowland. Unfortunately, she's not that great. She does okay on that team, she does okay in very specific situations, but overall it's gonna be a problem to bring her here. Now we have the symbiotes, and it's gonna be a problem to talk about the symbiotes because all of them require alien spores, and if it's gonna be extremely hard to gear up one character, imagine gearing up all of them. So because of that, we have to remove some of the symbiotes. Some are definitely better than others, and the one that I think we can remove right away is Carnage. Carnage, unless we are facing summoners, and this might change in the future whenever we find out the lanes next month, we might have to consider Carnage if we are facing like a multiple man, or if we are facing some kind of Nick Fury or other summoner. Otherwise, Carnage has no use. Then Venom is extremely slow on any team, and on the symbiotes he is the last to go. Once again, if you are facing summoners, he becomes useful, but if you are not, he's not that great. He gives the defense up, he gives 1 single target ability block, and that's pretty much it. He can spread the negative effects, that's cool, but still it's not good enough. He's way too slow. Okay, so let's continue. So we have Cloak and Dagger. We have let's remove Vulture. Vulture unfortunately is useful on the tech nodes of the Doom Raids, but yeah, without Dr. Octopus, which is his partner there in Dark Dimension 5, is going to have no chance, even that he has some utility. His stats right now are just way too low. I heard that maybe there is some kind of rework coming for the Sinister Six in winter, not on the next patch, but in 2 patches. So maybe he will be good in the future, but right now it's someone we can forget about. Just forget about it. Okay, so let's move on. Moon Knight, very good in Alliance Wars. He can be very good in raids, and that's the reason why he's still here. And in raids together with Deathpool and the New Warriors, is actually very strong, and if you have a way to give him deflects, he becomes very, very fast and very, very interesting. The problem is that he's just not good enough or reliable enough. He uses some sets of mini uniques that we don't often use, or not mini uniques, of uniques, which is the Gravitonium, and that would be decent, but because he's 4 sets of mini uniques for Mystic, that's going to be a problem. So let's look elsewhere for now. We have Luke Cage. Luke Cage, he requires the same uniques as Omega Red, so that might be a problem for you. But this guy is actually very interesting because he gives defense up and energy, and he also taunts, and he also removes negative effects from himself. He's kinda slow, and that used to be the problem with him, but if you pair him along Shang-Chi, he will have 2 turns speed up, and the energy that he gives can go to Shang-Chi and make it a continuous chain of speed up on Luke Cage, so he might become a lot more interesting. His speed is 80, so with speed up he will be 120, which is not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. It's definitely much better than is usually, and that extra speed will be more interesting because you'll get more energy, more defense subs, more deflects, and he also gives death proof, which is great for Shang-Chi and for whoever comes along. So let's consider this guy. Let's change here once again, and let's put blue. I'm gonna consider Shang-Chi as an option, and then Luke Cage as an option as well. Okay, so now let's continue. Let's continue with our rationalization of Dark Dimension. Okay, we changed everything now. Now let's change the tool. Okay, so 4 characters that we are considering. Which other characters can we consider? We could consider Miss Marvel and Squirrel Girl. The problem is that Miss Marvel, as you guys know, she is only good with brawlers, and we have Shang-Chi is a brawler that could be interesting, but unfortunately I think it's just not good enough to have just one brawler, and we need a little bit more than that. So unfortunately we are going to let's see our uniques at least. Okay, so Miss Marvel, we have uniques, requires 3 sets of mini uniques, and she requires shield tech. So shield tech is a problem because we need that shield tech for Kestrel, and Kestrel has 100% priority, so yikes. Now Kestrel, she is going to be one of the last characters that you need because she's on the cosmic lane, but still right now Miss Marvel, she doesn't have too much utility, so yeah, we are going to have to remove her. But let's keep here on the red. Maybe a possibility, but very low possibility. Okay, so speaking of Miss Marvel, we can also speak of Squirrel Girl. Squirrel Girl, she always had a great kit. She has a very good special, removes negative effects, and calls for assist one of the allies with the most damage. She applies offense down, she gives herself a defense up, and she also gets turn meter and drain and extra HP. She does tons of stuff. Unfortunately, she doesn't have any good team or any relevant team right now in any game mode. Even that she has some use for the Doom raids on the bio lane, even that not many people are using her. With all that said, she uses unstable cloth, which is good. We don't have any character right now using unstable cloth. We have Tesseract. This guy uses the something cloth, I think. Then we have the Miasma, then we have the Carbonarium, we have the Shield Tech, and we have Carbonarium. And then we have okay, so let's make Squirrel Girl also possibly interesting, but definitely on red. Is she more red than Miss Marvel? No. Squirrel Girl, she has a lot more utility than Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel needs Squirrel Girl, and Squirrel Girl doesn't need anyone. So it all comes down to if you have enough bio gear. She requires 4 sets, so she is quite expensive. But once again, unstable cloth that no one is using, and then she becomes a lot more interesting. Okay, so other characters that we can consider. Okay, so let's remove this guy right here. Unfortunately, Moon Knight is nice, but is too slow for the team we are making so far. If I'm not sure if Luke Cage can give him deflects, that would make him a little bit more interesting, but his cooldowns are kinda long and that's not good. So Luke Cage can give only deflects to heroes for hire, so yeah, not great. We cannot make a synergy between Luke Cage and Moon Knight, unfortunately, so Moon Knight has to go. Now Scream. Scream, she's a symbiote, she's cool and all, but her HP is kinda low. It's kinda on the trash level, I think it's around 200,000 plus, let's see, almost 300,000. Now, she's another bio character, she's also a symbiote, so she will require alien spores, and that's not great, unless it's raining alien spores for you. I've been buying this stuff for quite a while and I have like 4 or 5, so I don't think she'll be a great option, but a possible option. So let's keep her not on this red, we want the other one. Let's keep her on this very red option. Then we have Multiple Man, and Multiple Man is quite an interesting character. I would probably consider him because of all the clones. If you are using Cloak and Dagger and then you have Multiple Man making clones all the time and taunts and stuff like this, he becomes a very interesting tank. The problem is that he doesn't have much use right now in the game. He is somewhat interesting but not too much interesting. His kit is kinda dull apart from his passive and from his special. In terms of stats, he has a lot of HP, which is nice. In terms of gear, he requires Ballistic Weave. We don't have any character with Ballistic Weave so far, but he requires 4 sets of Mutant Mini Uniques, so yikes, expensive. Expensive, low utility, and I think because of all that, it's gonna compromise the utility. Like, we are going to keep him on red, but possible because we don't know how many mutants we are going to use overall. So those characters, they have some utility but not so much. Okay, so other characters that we have right now, we have Mystic Knight, Anti-Venom, and the Symbiote Spider-Man. Symbiote Spider-Man, let's take a look at this guy, and I think I'm gonna place him on yellow. No, it's really hard to... Okay, let's place him on yellow for now. So he's a very good character. He is almost priority. It's like Cloak and Dagger. If you are taking Dagger, we should take Cloak, of course. Symbiote Spider-Man, we can use him as a standalone symbiote, and that would be great. He requires 4 sets of mini uniques, if I remember correctly. He applies slow to the enemies, defense down, stun, and he has drain, so he can sustain himself. He can extend other negative effects on the enemies. So that's very interesting if you are using Cloak and Dagger, of course. Now the problem is that the only problem is that we have to use him as a standalone character, and that's not a big problem, and that's why he's yellow. He's one of the characters that we are almost sure that we are going to take. And finally we have Mystic Knight and Anti-Venom. Now Anti-Venom is not so great. He can give some buffs to the allies too if they are not symbiote, and a bunch of them if they are symbiotes, so that would be interesting. The problem is that he has long cooldowns, he has that dodge that protects him for a while, he gives energy to himself and so on, but I think he will not do much. So I'm gonna place him on possibly useful, but on red. He's one of the other characters that is going to use alien spores, so you have 2 characters on the same lane, on the city lane, competing for the same item, and this is something you definitely want to avoid because it's going to slow you down a lot. You want to have characters that synergize and don't require the same set of uniques. Okay, so finally we have Mystic Knight. And the Mystic Knight, she is useful on the Doom raids, on the Doom 2 especially. She gives stun, she gives ability block, and she also gives another ability block, defense down, and unfortunately it's pretty much that. Now the cool thing is that the cooldowns on those abilities are quite small, and we have Shang-Chi giving her speed up, and we have Luke Cage giving her defense up, death proof, and deflect. So she becomes very interesting. Now how it looks in terms of stats and in terms of gears. First, she has around 400k HP, that's nice. In terms of speed, she's at 100, yikes. But now you have to remember, she gets the speed up from Shang-Chi, so the speed is going from 100 to 150. A lot more interesting, so that stun and that ability block is going to happen quite often. In terms of gear, she's tech. Once again, we have no tech characters so far. We have 2 mystic, 1 skill, 1 bio, and that's it. And maybe another bio. And she's tech, and she requires 2 sets of mini uniques, and she uses extremis. There are not many characters that use extremis, so this might be relevant. Now, am I going to place her on blue? I don't think blue is the right option, because right now she's not farmable, and that's going to be a big deal because you want the characters to be as big as possible. And even that she has okay stats, I don't think it's good enough. And Luke Cage, he doesn't give stats to the entire team. He gets a lot more stats when he is together with Heroes for Hire, but I don't think that it's gonna be good enough based on the, like, usually we have the passives that give stats to the other allies, but it's not the case with this team. Now, the relevance of these characters. Some characters, they have definitely more relevance. We have Heroes for Hire. I think they are still going to last for at least 5 to 6 months in Alliance Wars defense because of how good they are. And even that some counters are showing up, they are still going to be extremely relevant because most of those counters will not be available for most people. So Heroes for Hire are definitely one team that you should consider. They are quite cheap in terms of gear, as you just saw, and they have good gimmicks with each other: defense up, energy, death proofs, speed up, and clear negative effects. Also clears negative effects, turn rewinds the enemies, stun, double ability block, defense down. So a lot of utilities that are good in Dark Dimension. To complement these, I think we should take Cloak and Dagger, and then we would have speed up on these characters and slow, defense down, offense down, disrupt and blinds and everything on the enemy team, which would help Shang-Chi keeping everyone alive, assuming that he was going to be the only healer. And if we don't another problem with Mystic Knight is that she's not farmable, so if you want to replace Mystic Knight with Symbiote Spider-Man, I think that's going to be the best team that we can take, and that would make our team. So Cloak, Dagger, Shang-Chi, Luke Cage, those probably for sure 100% confirmed. Then we have to decide between Symbiote Spider-Man, Mystic Knight. In case you don't have any of these characters available to you, like Mystic Knight or Shang-Chi, you could go with Spider-Man and Anti-Venom, which is a situation you should avoid, or Spider-Man and Squirrel Girl. Going for Miss Marvel, I just don't think she's useful enough, and Multiple Men, very expensive, and the use of him outside of anything is not useful in any game mode, so I don't think it's going to be a good option either. So yeah guys, that's going to be the first video on the preparation for Dark Dimension 5. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you found the information on this video helpful, make sure to share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.